You ever feel like you're being watched? For those of you that are new here, we're a family that bought 140 acres off-grid in Australia. Today we're going to be teaching our boys how to change a chain from a chainsaw and how to use the chainsaw for the first time. It's winter in Australia right now and we've been getting below 0 temperatures, so we need to stock up on a lot of firewood.
So we need to take those two off, so undo them. So you've got to turn it towards you. So best way is to hold it up there.
Oh, towards me.
Yep, and just one. Now do the other. Just loosen it. So hold it. Yep, that's fine. Yep, you should be able to do them by hand.
So the first thing you need to do is to remove the cover by removing the two nuts.
Yep, pull the cover off. So that whole thing, yep. Okay, so then this is loose now, so pull it off.
This?
Yep, the whole thing.
You then remove the blade and the old chain.
Yep, take the chain off.
For extra safety, you could be wearing gloves as well. Need to clean off all the wood chip residue, oil and dirt from the
Pick it up and take
sprocket
it
in the
down.
blade. If you're anything like me and don't know the difference between a sprocket and a carburetor, I'll help you out. You'll see the sprocket. It's the round, circly kind of thing there. Before even working with the chainsaw and taking the cover off, you should probably also remove the spark plug so that you know that the engine's not live. We've been using up a lot of wood lately because it's just been so cold. We usually use the dead trees that are on the property. If you watched our previous video, you'll see that we got our antique well pump working and some of the water from our well was pumped up, which was pretty exciting for us, and we're just looking at getting the water tested. We're also looking at installing a septic system and getting a toilet, so if anyone has any tips and tricks about that, it'd be great to hear from you. Living off the grid has become more and more popular, not just in Australia but in other countries as well. I think 2020 gave us a big wake-up call when we realised that resources weren't available as soon as we snap our fingers.
Okay, put the chain on the blade.
Even though we do use a wood heating, we also plant lots of trees on our property to make sure that we're doing it in a more sustainable way. We're also keen to grow our own food forest, but we probably need some tips on what might be frost hardy because we've come from a warmer climate.
So because that's a new blade and a new chain and this one would have stretched, we need to back off the tensioner. So there's the tensioner.
Yeah.
So when you undo that, this here moves. So you want to move that as far back as it can go right now. So just work out which way it goes. Is it going the right way?
Yeah.
You won't have to go fully, but is it?
Yeah. Do you want it to go all the way to the end?
No, go a bit more. It's better if it's past the point and then you can tension it up. Yep. So you can put that on the side. Yep. Grab your blade and your chain. Yep. No, find the hole. Yeah, find that hole that locates in one of those holes.
And when you're putting the new blade and chain back on the chainsaw, you need to make sure the chain can feed around the crank.
Actual cog. See how it's sitting above it? Yep, that's better. Okay, so now what you can do is just tension it a little bit. Yes, come around that side. No, that's the wrong way. I think. No, yeah, it's the wrong way. Tighten it up.
So when you put the chain back on, you need to tension it up so it's not too tight, but that it has a little bit of give as well, and the chain needs to be going in the right direction so the sharp parts are biting into the wood.
Are these all still lined up? Yeah, keep going. Other way. Okay, so stop. You don't want it too tight. We might have to loosen that up. But that's all right, just leave it there for now. Put the cover on.
And so after you replace the cover, you just need to do the nuts back up again.
Sorry. You're pushing towards me. No, that's tight enough. Yeah, that's tight enough. Let me just double check. Yeah, it's too tight probably. Yeah, too tight, but that's alright. That's the other thing we're going to do, which I just forgot to do that. So that's loose, just back the tensioner off a bit.
So when you put the cover back on, you need to verify the proper tension. So you should be able to pull the chain about 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the blade, or to where the drive links are just about to come out of the groove. And check that the chain is spinning around freely as well.
Just half a turn and then check it. Check it. That's about right. Okay, so now tighten them up, but don't over tighten them. So you just got to. No, probably one more. Yep. Yep, nice. Done. Chain down.
So we're going to use 3 of these dead trees here.
So, we always start chainsaws on the ground. You never do this.
Paul does this all the time, by the way.
Put your foot on there.
I really love the simple and uncomplicated way of living out of the grid. I think of all the years spent living in the city, people making lots of money trying to buy things to impress other people, and just buying other things in general that you don't really need, just because it's the latest fad or the newest gadget. And don't get me wrong, I know that there are a lot of hard-working folk out there just trying to have an ordinary life. And most of us don't know how to escape the sort of captivity that comes with living a life like this. And you're basically selling your soul to continue living like that. So until a few weeks ago, I'd never even put my hands on a chainsaw before. And now look at me. And one of the other things I love as well about being off the grid is that the whole family work together as a team to get a job done. We will all benefit from the warmth of this firewood, so we all need to contribute. And we also got to finally meet our lovely neighbours, Diane and Warwick, and they invited us into their home. And they offered us a cup of tea and a piece of cake, and they showed us all around their off-grid property and how things work well for them. It was a really good learning experience for both of us. And here's Nathaniel using the chainsaw for the first time. Watch out, world. And now it's Eli's turn. He's doing a great job. And now it's my turn again. Who runs the world? When you've lived in the city for over 20 years, it's actually pretty exhilarating learning how to do just general stuff like this. Self-sufficiency skills that you would never get the opportunity to learn living in the city. Or at least I wouldn't have. And I'm pretty sure I could star in a true crime show now as a serial killer. It's just like cutting up body parts. My sister's gonna love that one. And then I asked my mum, did she like my chainsawing skills? And she said no, she was nervous and thought I was gonna cut off my own arm or something like that. Probably the memory of me having to go to the emergency at the hospital for cutting off the end of my finger probably didn't help. I had to get it all sewn back together and I still can't feel anything properly. That was with a kitchen blender though. So we're just in the design stages for our bathroom and we're looking for some tips and hints if anyone has any. We're looking at possibly having a demountable building or a container or something like that. So if you have any ideas, let us know. We're also looking at trying to get a greenhouse or a hothouse or a glass house or some sort of tunnel to try to grow some plants because it's been below zero and all of our plants are dying from the frost. So I'll show you that in another update soon. After we finished here, I went back up and made some burgers for us for lunch. And I used Tracy's onion jam from the Make It Tenterfield store in the main street, where I sell my soaps and where our neighbour Diane sells her dolls. If you're ever in the Tenterfield area, I encourage you to go to the Make It shop where there's all sorts of handmade things. I definitely think it's worth a look. And my mum said that the burger was the best burger that she's ever had, so that's definitely a compliment. It's these small acts of kindness that really make a big difference to your life. Having someone say even the smallest compliment or giving you a little bit of encouragement to keep going really does make your day. And that's one of the reasons why I appreciate how we've had so many more subscribers over the last few months, and they've been really interacting with us and encouraging us on our journey, and it's really meant a lot to me. And we've also recently had a couple of conversations with our neighbours about putting in a proper access road instead of the boggy track that we've got at the moment. It's going to cost a lot of money though, and so we're going to need to save up for that. Our neighbours have been kind enough to say that they'll pay for it up front and then we can pay them back, which is really nice. So I guess you could say this is a typical day on a winter's day off the grid. So it's not all rainbows and lollipops. It's a lot of work to get even the smallest things done, but it's very rewarding. So this was our firewood haul for today's efforts. A good job done by everyone. And just when you thought the job was over, it's now unloading all the wood from the car. The fire does a good job of keeping the shed warm, but as soon as it goes out, it's freezing. So there's no insulation or anything in the shed. So thank you everyone for joining in our journey and watching and sharing everything with us as we go along. We really do appreciate it. And chat to you next time.